Hi, good evening. This is Shannon Lynch, and I am live in Jamaica. And my guest tonight is Bryce McKinley, who has been doing virtual wholesaling. I hope you guys can hear us. It's a little loud. He's been doing virtual wholesaling, and he's been averaging 55 to 60 deals a day. No, a day. A month.
Damn, I'm good. I know I'm good, but 50, yeah. Let's just say 50 plus a month. But
I'm so tired. It's been a really long day. Hey, Bill. Hey, Aaron. It's been a really long day. We were out on a catamaran all day long. We hiked Ocho Rios. Not hiked Ocho Rios. Oh my God, I am such a
Dun
mess.
River Falls.
Dun River Falls.
It's been a long day. If you guys can hear us, give us some thumbs up, give us some likes, some hugs, some hearts, some lives, whatever.
And there's been a couple rum punches in there too. So there's that.
Yeah, Mike, because everything's already in Jamaica. It's been a good day.
It's going to be a long interview.
We got this.
I know. I got it. Ready? I'm in.
Boom.
I'm in. We got this. All right. So, what should we talk about? Let's talk about your humble beginnings.
My humble beginnings. What do you want to know about my humble beginnings?
All right. So you're now virtually wholesaling on average 55 to 60 deals a month, which is really unheard of. I mean, what's the average wholesaler doing in a month's time?
Yeah, that's a great question. So
let's give people a point of reference.
Yeah, so Shannon, just so that you know, most wholesalers are doing between three and 5 contracts a month.
A month, and you're doing?
I'm averaging 50 to 55 contracts.
Unbelievable. And you have a team, so that's not even just that's just you,
That's
correct?
just me.
Okay. So what is the team doing?
So I have 2 other acquisition managers, and those acquisition managers combined with my productivity is averaging right around 87 to 90 transactions a month.
It's amazing. That is amazing. Oh, I have so many, my brain is exploding. I have so many questions. Okay, so do you want to give everybody a little bit of a background on, why don't you just talk about you for a little bit and kind of fill them in, and then we'll kind of dive in from there. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So my name is Bryce McKinley, and for those of you guys that don't know me, that are just jumping on Shannon's live here with the interview, I've been a Fortune 500 business consultant, Ford, Nissan, Tyco, ADT, Brink Security, All Side Siding and Windows. I've been a sales consultant, and what that means from my perspective is I come into businesses and I make them better from a perspective of sales management, and implementation. And so, if you guys all recall back in 2007, 8, and 9, the bailout, right? The bailout in the automotive industry was devastating to the economy. It was devastating to help dealerships run a corrective program to help them do better business.
Right.
I consulted with Ford at the time and Nissan as well a little later on. But I was in the car business. I started out in the car business at 17, and by the time 2005, 6, and 7 came around, I was selling 70, 75 cars a month, and the national average is 15.
So you hustle.
I hustle.
You have an incredible work ethic.
I work. I probably work more than I should sometimes. So.
Well, yeah. I think it's people that are here at this week, I think that's kind of a common denominator.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us suffer from that.
Yeah.
So you've been wholesaling roughly for 5.5, 6 years? Am I in the ballpark?
Just at 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I've just been at 5 years.
So how did you get started wholesaling?
I got started in wholesaling real estate by accident. I lost everything. I'm not going to go into all the details, but I lost everything between 2008 and 2010. I lost everything and had to rebuild myself from little to nothing. And I was shopping around. And so as you guys jump on, we've got 10 or 15 viewers. You guys give us a like, give us a thumbs up, some hearts, share this out, because what we're about to share with you is going to hopefully change your life. And so 2011 comes around. I'm in Dallas due to some unfortunate circumstances, and all I knew how to do was hustle. And so what does that look like, right? I had always been with Fortune 500, corporate America clients as their sales liaison, helping their sales team grow, helping them build processes and systems. And that's all I knew.
You were a system guy.
I was a system guy. I'm a system guy. I'm an NLP, language, neuro-linguistic programming, sales aficionado. When they talk about professional, a true professional practices because he's never perfect. And so
a little foreshadowing of where you were going and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah. So 2011 comes around and I lost everything. I became a single dad. Marshall, what's going on, brother? Yes, sir. Hopefully changing some lives, one life at a time, like you said earlier today. I appreciate you, brother. So all I knew how to do was consult with businesses. I've never had started anything from scratch. And so what I would do is I would reach out to businesses that were looking for sales professionals, reach out to businesses that were looking for sales managers, and then I would come in and I would get hired, and then I would say, no, thank you. Here's what I would like to do. I'd like to come in and rebuild and restructure your system. And
I got receptive to that?
It's interesting. Some were, some weren't. So I've worked with, on a smaller scale, I worked with all sides, siding, windows, roofing. I worked with RDI Trading. I worked with Alamo Prism Communications, smaller businesses in the Dallas, San Antonio market, and came in, worked out their sales systems. And I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity. And Bill, to answer your question, I'm in the Dallas market. But
what you do could be done anywhere.
It could be done anywhere, and I've got a proven track record, and I'll talk about that in a minute. That's a great comment. So I got into wholesaling by accident because this particular company was looking for acquisition managers. I wanted to be a partner and or this consultant. I didn't want to have those strings attached. I'm a single dad. I've got a 7-year-old now today. And for those of you that are watching live, you're missing out on the whole story. I wish you were here. You've got to be here at Tab 4.0. So make sure you go to tabretreat.com, follow us, dock the journey, and stay around so that way you can enjoy some of the lifestyle that we're all having the pleasure of doing. So back to the story, right?
Right.
So I get hired and I said, no, I don't want to do this only if there's a little bit more incentive gain, because this is what I need to make to get and maintain my lifestyle. I've got some bills, I've got a son.
Right.
And they basically laughed. They said, do 10 deals your first month and we'll talk about it. And so, at the end of the day, they asked me to do 10 deals.
Somehow I have a feeling that wasn't an issue for you.
That wasn't an issue. You're absolutely right. I didn't know that the national average is 2 to 3 transactions. I didn't know that 10 deals was a huge thing my first month in the business.
But don't you think sometimes that's better? I think sometimes people smack us with these limiting beliefs where they say, this is what most people do, and so you automatically set your bar there. Whereas if you don't know what you don't know, you just kind of shoot for the stars.
Had they told me everybody was doing 3 deals, I would have shot for 5. You're absolutely right. So they asked me to do 10. My thing is go big or go home. So what did I do? My first month in the business, 23 transactions. 23 transactions.
You're kidding me.
Blown away. They were blown away. I didn't know that was a big deal. I found out later that was a big deal. And we started talking about the relationship that we have today.
And I hope you asked for a raise.
It was more than a raise. I became a partner in the company.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so now can we fast forward to how did you transition from that to wholesaling?
So that's what it was. They were wholesaling.
That was the wholesaling.
Yeah, they had the wholesaling company. They were doing 2 or 3 transactions a month.
I got it.
And they were looking to add another acquisition manager.
Now, so you had not wholesaled before.
I've never done a real estate transaction prior to.
So did they just give you a script? How did they? What did they teach you?
Unfortunately, they had little to no training. They had a system or process that they were implementing at the time where they went through and they did a profile assessment, which was good. I still highly believe in that, in assessing your potential acquisitions teams or your salespeople or even anybody on your staff. Absolutely. And so that said, they had little to nothing other than show me how to run comps and evaluate what repair value would be.
Okay.
And so with my experience, the first thing that I did the next night was I went home and I'm like, well, I've got to come up with the script.
Yeah.
And so formally I've been NLP certified. And if you guys don't know what NLP is, it's neuro linguistic programming. And so as Shannon and I sit here, she's got her hands, kind of cupped together. I'm sitting here mirroring what she's doing, right? And if we were in a transaction or a communication event where it was, the ability to have or create an opportunity would be there, I would do something simply as lean back. And as I talked to Shannon, if she was my customer, she would probably lean back as well.
And I'd start to mirror you.
And she just did it. She
Not
didn't
realizing.
even not realizing as she
realizing.
said it, she did it. That's what I've done for years. And so I put together this script that was framework, a lot of NLP, and I went to work. 23 transactions later, they
But
we've got
NLP is in person, correct? Is it not? No.
That's a great question. It's
Because
really
what
not.
you're doing right now, you're mirroring me, but we're sitting here together. So if you were doing, and you said a lot of the wholesaling you're doing is virtual, I'm assuming more phone calls?
It is. So 99.9999% of my business is all over the phone, excuse me. What's up, Sarah? Big top dog wholesaler.
Big dog wholesaler.
Sarah's one of my best friends back in Texas. I love this lady.
Cool.
If you guys aren't following Sarah Pennick, you gotta follow her. She's the bot queen. But no, to answer your question, it's not just in person. NLP is a way to program the subconscious mind. And so there's things that we call anchors. So if we were in person, I might touch your knee, I might touch your shoulder when we're talking about something very positive. So that way when I go into the close or the opportunity to create a transaction or move someone forward in the event process,
Right.
when I need them to be positive, I do the same thing. So on the phone, as I'm talking to people, if you guys go into Virtual Wholesaling 101, Prospecting Objections and Rebuttals, it's a group that I created. Every Wednesday, I do a free
Okay,
training.
say that one more time because that was a mouthful.
Yeah, so there is a replay on this.
That's true.
Virtual Wholesaling 101, Objections, Prospecting, and Rebuttals. It's a group. Every Wednesday, I do free training.
Sweet.
But what I do is a lot of my students are in this group cold calling. And if you go and watch my calls, you'll watch how I do NLP over the phone. For example, when I'm talking to somebody about their family or their recreation, like what they like to do for fun, I'll take my pen and I'll click it in the ear or the earpiece of my Bluetooth. So they hear that subconsciously, they might not recognize it, and then we start talking about other events leading up to that close, and when it comes time to close that transaction or set the appointment,
You're clicking that.
I click it
pen.
again. It's crazy to think that simply clicking a pen in the microphone of a phone works, but it works.
Well, apparently it does if you're closing, 50 to 60 deals a month.
Right.
That's unbelievable. So, and the NLP, where did you learn?
So I learned NLP actually from Brandler. He's one of the founders. I attended a lot of his workshops. I was certified back between 2003 and 2007 for a few years. I found it not necessary to maintain my certification because it's something that I've always done.
Yeah.
It came natural to me. At 8 years old, I was fired from my paper route because I wasn't 10 years old. And I convinced the lady to give me the damn paper route and put it in my dad's name so that way I could continue to work. And by the time I was 9, I had 5 paper routes and I was making more money than my parents were. So,
That's
I
pretty
know.
incredible.
Can we cheers to that? With some water. We need some water.
Because we were very busy drinking rum punches this afternoon on the catamaran.
In Jamaica.
In Jamaica, man.
Y'all should be here.
Irie.
It's so irie. Everything's smooth and irie in Jamaica.
Now it's all about rehydrating and ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen and water. That's what it's about. Got to get ready for tomorrow. Big day tomorrow.
So,
Bill's got a question. Bill says, how are you going to adjust to the Dodd-Frank and increase mortgage rates as home sales are slowing down? Bill, that's a great question. You know, I feel a little differently than most. I have a mindset of the market does not dictate my productivity. I just need to change according to the marketing as to who is more motivated. And so Dodd-Frank, the economy, interest rates, they don't affect me. Because guess what? People still have to live in homes, and people are still dying, giving the homes to kids and grandkids that can't afford them. People, unfortunately, are still getting divorced. So I come in, I put my superhero cape on every morning.
Right.
When I go into my business, I don't worry about that. It's just like the recession between 06 and 09 in the car business, right? You know, at the end of the day, exactly. Somebody already wrote, I just started to say it. Who said it? Sarah said, I can't work with everyone, and I only work with people that are serious about working with me. Please.
She's quoting you.
Exactly. This is my girl. She knows how I work. You know, at the end of the day, I can only work with people that are serious about working with me. So please, tell me a little bit more about what you're looking for when we close this transaction today. So that would be a form of NLP. But back to the question, how am I going to adjust? I'm not going to adjust much. I'm going to actually add to my marketing spend. Because people are still dying, people are still getting divorced, people are still heiring over properties that they can't afford, and there's still landlords out there living in other states that can't deal with the fact that their tenant's a piece of crap and they don't want the property.
Right.
I'm a
So
superhero.
yeah. So you're finding the motivated sellers. These are people that are tired of the properties, can't afford to do the repairs. So this is basically probate, code violation, divorce, estate sales, et cetera, along those lines.
Yeah, it could be anything. I have a different method, and so if you guys are interested in that, you know, definitely shoot me a private message. We'll go one-on-one and see how I can add value to what your systems are now. But at the end of the day, I get laser focused. So one example, absentee owners. Everybody knows that absentee owners is a great list to call, right?
Right. No.
Take that a little further. No, it is. It's a great list to
I was
call.
like, wait, where are you going with this?
But if you're just starting out and you've only got $1,000 to spend and you get a blanket list, you're going to get the first $1,000 your $1,000 can spend, right?
Right.
So let's take that a little step further. Let's dig a little deeper. Let's take that $1,000 and go 40% equity, 50 plus years of age, out of state.
Yeah.
Now I'm only spending
Yes.
a couple $100s in this
It's
zip
a
code.
much more targeted.
Exactly.
Yes, I agree
and these
with
are
you.
more motivated. So now I can go to the next zip code and the next zip code and the next zip code, and my $1,000 is going to get a ton more response because they're much more motivated.
And I like the fact that you're not just shotgun marketing. That you're.
Exactly.
And I also like the fact that you said you're going to double down and put more marketing dollars out there. And I feel the same way. That's exactly what I'm going to do as this market is starting to stabilize. And a lot of the realtors that are hobbyists are going to wind up probably pulling back because right now it's easy. It's easy. It's been a seller's market. But I think when we get to the point where the market gets to be a lot more challenging, you're going to see a lot of people, you know, not doing the realtor gig as their main gig. Maybe they'll do it on the side when a friend wants to sell their house. But I think a lot of people are not going to be able to, it's not going to be sustainable for them as a livelihood because they don't know how to fish. And if you don't know how to fish, you're not going to eat. So, so I totally agree with you. When this market starts to cool down, I'll be doubling down on my advertising dollars and definitely jumping in more. So
Carlos says, I listened to your cold calls and I just closed the deal using some of your words.
nice. That's beautiful.
Mario, my friend, bro, we got to go get some tacos when I get home, man. We've been talking about it. Let's be about it.
Needs to be a reward there, definitely.
I
Some
know,
sort of congrats.
I know. Give me some welcome back to the States tacos or something, bro.
But come on, the Jamaican patties have been pretty awesome.
You know, I like those pizza puffs today on
That
the boat.
thing was so good. Oh my god.
Y'all are missing out.
I totally kissed the woman who made the homemade barbecue sauce. I said,
I gave her a hug. It was so
Did you?
spicy. It was Mama's blend.
She turned
The
out-
love sauce. Y'all are missing out on the love
She
sauce.
turned around and I was like, it's so funny because I went up to her and I said, what is this? And she said, this is barbecue sauce and this is love. I said, love what? She goes, no, this is barbecue sauce and this is love. It's made with love. So I had a
Oh, y'all got the middle school millionaire in the house? We're in the middle of an interview. What's up, bro?
What's up, Daddy?
This is Bryce's son.
Absolutely. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm a single dad. That's my 7-year-old. Go to Amazon and order, oh, not this shirt, it's the other shirt I had on earlier. I showered and changed since the boat. Hashtag the middle school millionaire. Follow him, join his page. Every shirt that he sells, 50% of the proceeds go back to help the homeless. The kid's amazing. It's his whole thing.
I love this. So Kevin is asking, I'm gonna.
Chris, yeah, bro, I got some sun. Kevin, what's your question?
Kevin is asking, what's the play when the market gets hit? And woo, sorry, we have everything actually propped up on water glass goblets, and I don't know what this is gonna say. There we go. Okay, great, awesome. Okay, we're good.
Oh.
Woo, or not. I should have brought the stabilizer, but I got it. Okay, let's see.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Just leave it.
I know. Okay. So,
Kevin, you asked a question about when the market gets hit. You know, when the market gets hit, that doesn't affect my business. Because most people, it affects their mindset first, and then it affects their business. They start to pull out. Like we talked about with marketing, I'm going to double down because there's still the opportunity to become the superhero. I'm still going to come in and save people's lives, take them out of a tough situation, take them out of their fear, their pain, their loss, and give them a solution. My market doesn't affect my mentality, and my mentality overcomes my market every single time.
So now you have your son here.
Yeah.
At the Tab Mastermind. And how old is he?
He's 7.
Okay. And what's the goal there?
So, I mean, my son has 3 personal development coaches. My son reads grown-up level books. My son is here to be a witness to what God has done in our life, but also to represent his own company. I mean, you heard him on the microphone on the boat. I wasn't even around.
Blown away.
The kid, my 7-year-old, dad wasn't around encouraging him or nothing. I'm up having a drink, having a good time, socializing with the other adults, and my son's on the microphone. Everybody know what you need to do. Follow hashtag the middle school millionaire.
He totally did.
It was great. And then on the way in, trying to dock the boat, the kid grabbed the wheel and docked the boat for us.
Yeah,
so,
the captain let him just basically take over.
You know, I don't treat my 7-year-old any different than I would you or any other adult. Because you know what? He's still a person. He's still a human with the soul and an opportunity to impact a life. And when we can live vicariously through them, with them, in the moment, sky's the limit.
So you did a Facebook Live.
What's up, John Campbell? I see you, bro.
I want to say you did it this morning on the beach.
I do a live every day, if not 2 or 3.
Okay, but this one, you said you were brokenhearted.
Ooh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That was hard to hear, and that struck a chord. It totally struck a chord. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because it's, I mean, a lot of them, I mean, they'll know you after this, but.
Man. Yeah, Kevin, I just wholesale. Right now, we cherry pick for our flips and our buy and holds, but our business, our primary business, just let it go.
I'm just going to let it go.
Don't touch it. Yeah, so to answer you, Kevin, we just wholesale and we cherry pick for our buy and holds. But
yeah, he's killing it on wholesaling. He's killing it in dad, too.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that, brother. So to answer your question, Shannon, man, I did a live this morning after I got through my morning affirmations, and I'm going to start getting emotional because at the end of the day,
because we'll both be too messy.
I don't care about real estate. I love the opportunity that it provides to hang out and associate with you guys and that are a part of this event. I could care less about real estate. My main purpose is to seek and save all those that are lost. And what I mean by that is I serve a crazy, amazing God. And my God has shown up time and time again when I hated him, when I didn't listen to him, when I wasn't in tune with him. And I was talking about relationships. We're sitting here in Jamaica because we are part of the change in this world, right?
Right. Absolutely.
There's so many grown adults doing some amazing things, and yet their relationships are on the brink. I had an opportunity to talk to a couple this afternoon, and they're both in tears, and they're both not talking to each other. One is on the bus talking to me on the way home, not knowing that her husband talked to me all the way throughout the whole bus trip. And they're like, what do we do? And it just hurts me that there's relationships that are just crushing and falling apart.
I think it's really interesting to me that Marshall started off this week as the first speaker, right? He was
Yep.
the first speaker. And Marshall, who I had done a interview, a Facebook Live with yesterday morning, he shared an incredibly personal story, which we didn't feel comfortable putting on our Facebook Live and talking about, partially because I don't want to take away from the Tab retreat itself, and we didn't think it was appropriate. And so I think a lot of people didn't really understand the full impact of Marshall's. I mean, it was an amazing Facebook Live we did yesterday, but people really didn't get the full, oh my goodness. And so Marshall was really super wide open about, and really vulnerable and personal, and told this story. And he's challenging me to do the same.
You should.
And it's hard.
You should.
It's hard.
Can I share my story?
I would love to, if you feel comfortable.
I'm gonna
with
share
it.
on Friday, but you know what? There's only 15 people here.
If you
They're
feel,
not
yes.
here.
Okay.
I'd be honored.
It's totally your call.
So I'm gonna tell you guys right now. I told you that I serve a God, but it comes down to the relationship. Because as we communicate, she speaks, I listen, I speak, she listens, you listen, you chime in with a comment. It's a two-way street.
Absolutely.
Without the personal relationship with our Creator, there is no relationship with anybody other than yourself. And any outside relationship that you call a relationship is simply false. Because you can't have a true relationship that is meaningful and longevity without selfish tendencies, without interpersonal struggles,
Yeah.
without the connection to the greatest God of all, right? So here's what happened. I had the world by the cojones, and I'm not going to share everything, but I'm going to give you the clip notes. I had the world by the balls. And in 2006, I had some tragedy in my life. In 2008, that tragedy stepped it up 10 times harder when my wife took her life. I had 5 successful businesses. 5. Not 1, not 3, not 4, 5. I had my consulting company. My wife had a childcare with 2 franchises, and then a salon with 3 franchises. We had 5 successful businesses. I didn't know how to run them. I'm a consultant in the automotive industry, and I lost the love of my life. I lost everything. I lost everything. I was so done, and I went off the deep end, drinking and partying and drugging. And I'm telling you this not to scare you, not to hurt any feelings, or maybe this resonates with you. You're dealing with something, right? And then I met this beautiful Italian girl, and we were partying, we were having a good time, and all of a sudden, boom, she's pregnant. I better get my stuff together. You just met him, the middle school millionaire. He saved my life. I sobered up. She couldn't do it. She couldn't do it. One day I came home, and she's laid out on the floor, and there's pills everywhere. My little baby boy is crawling through these pills. And all I could think is, oh my God, he's gonna die. And I picked him up, and I took a whole bunch of pictures, and I called the police, and I packed a backpack, and I left. It was the greatest thing of my life. I didn't know it. He saved my life. I was so stressed and so depressed. We drove around. We stayed in a hotel for a couple of months, and I slept in my car for the next 3.5, 4 months. My bank accounts were froze, and I had $32 to my name. This is how good my God is, because one night I was done. I was so done. I wrote a letter to my son. I wrote a letter to my mom, and the same 40 cal that sits next to my bed tonight hasn't jammed since, and it never jammed before. But that night, click, click, click. It jammed 3 times in my mouth, and I literally felt the arms of God just like grab me. And just like you know your dad's voice, and when he says, son, it'll be okay. The same voice that you might have heard a few minutes ago when my son was just standing here. The same little 9-month-old said, "Daddy, it'll be okay." I turned around, I'm like, oh my God. Like, what's going on? 9-month-olds don't talk, if you didn't know that already. 9-month-olds don't say a word. And I said, what is going on? I'm so mad. I'm like, come on, bro. I call God my bro. I'm like, come on, bro, show up. And I just felt squeezed. I felt the arms of God around me, and he said, bro, I've got you. I've never felt so much peace and so much anger at one time. And I said, show up. He did. 24 hours, I had 20 grand from an old client that deposited in my bank. I had an apartment complex call me and said, hey, we overlooked your application. Are you still interested in an apartment? Absolutely, I'd be honored to move in. I'm having some issues right now.
Oh my God, I so didn't expect this.
That was 7 years ago on Friday when I speak. On Friday when I lay this out for hundreds of people in the audience, that was 7 years ago to the day. I've had so much revelation. So if you're not at Tab Retreat, you've got to be here because this thing will change your life. These people care. Here's the deal.
Thank you.
It didn't end there because I was so mad. I told him to show up and he went so hard. I told him, if you show up, I'll do anything. Look at my shirt now. We get results. My hashtags are sold out. My hashtag is sold out because I'm so sold out. You can't take my God away from me. Go back to my live video this morning. Miracles happen every day. I'm doing a live video this morning talking about the relationship I have with my God. And there's a cloudy, overcast morning. Watch the end of my video. The sky opens up and the rainbow appears. You can't tell me my God doesn't exist. $32 to $30+ million in transactions over the last 5 years. You can't tell me there's not something greater out there than all of us. We better succumb to it. We better acknowledge it and start a relationship with the one and only true God. That's where my heart is. I don't care about real estate. I'm so honored to be in this life, in this moment. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter who's in your backside. It doesn't matter who tells you you can't. He can. Kevin, it's crazy because she's been drinking all day. I've had 2 beers.
Yeah, two rum punches. That's it. Oh my God.
I'm going to tell you guys right now,
Oh,
she didn't know what was coming.
I am
There's only
blindsided.
25 of you out there right now on our live.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay. The man upstairs is going to use me. He's going to use my guy Chris. He's going to use Sarah. He's going to use each and every one of you. Share this story. Make your own story. Tell your story because he's bigger than all of us. All you've got to do is learn to do one thing. Add value. If you can add value to someone's time, their money, and their family, your world will change. I promise you that.
And one of the things that you had put on your Facebook Live was that you were feeling, oh my goodness, I'm so wrecked. You were feeling kind of brokenhearted because there's a lot of very successful people here. Oh my gosh. There's a lot of very successful people here that sorry, I need a minute. Marshall started off, let me back up. Yeah. So Marshall kicked off the week and he talked about telling your story and being honest and being vulnerable. And I don't know if that's a testimony to Marshall, but it just feels like it's really set the tone for this entire week. And I feel like, because I went to the one in Cancun earlier this year, and it feels like all of the it feels like all of the I'm so sorry. It feels like all of the speakers are being more open, and I've said I'm sharing a story today that I've never shared with anybody. Dee shared some incredibly. We're doing a Facebook Live with Dee later on this week. You guys want to? Oh my God, you want to tune in for Dee. She's amazing. She's just an amazing human being, and she's a beautiful soul. Yes, thank you. Oh my God.
My pleasure.
Oh my God.
Let me speak real quick while you put your thoughts together. Justin, I see you, bro. I hear you. I'm going to share one thing with you. You want to believe? It's as easy as just stepping out and saying, I believe. Whatever you want me to do. But this morning I talked about relationships. And here's the deal, guys. You guys all know how relationships work. It's give and take. It's give and take. It's not all me. It's not all her. Right? Relationships are about give and take. And the man upstairs expects the same thing. Why else would he? You want to believe? Believe. But don't make it a one-way street. Don't only cry out when you need something. Thank him for the greatness that you're already doing. Thank him for being an amazing father, Justin. Thank him for the amazing job that you have. Thank him for the successful business that you're creating. Here's the thing. You can't just say thank you, and you can't just say, Daddy, I need you, or God, I need you right now. You have to open up the book and listen to the words that he speaks to us. And it's very simple. There's 31 days in most months, and there's 31 chapters in the book of Proverbs. Start there. One chapter a day. I promise you will change your life. Day 1, October 1st, read chapter 1. October 2nd, read chapter 2. Come November 1st, start over, read chapter 1 again. I promise you, start listening to the words that God has in store for you. And when you cry out, you will see things change. I promise you that.
I think we work with a lot of very successful people, but I don't know how many of them are truly happy here.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that's been enlightening, because I think when we work as hard as we do and we hustle like we do, there's something different about us. There just is. We're not 9-to-5ers that go home and put on the TV and just hang out. We are always working and pushing, and we're so much more. We do so much more, and I don't know if it's to feed something inside that we've been missing, or what it is. And Marsha,
or you're just lacking systems, because I only work from 2 to 4 Monday to Friday. I'm just saying, let's lighten it up a little bit, right? They want to get back to the subject. There's questions.
Me.
I mean, they want to get back to the topic. You want to talk about wholesaling? I work from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday and do what I do. So,
oh my gosh, I don't even know where to go from here.
here's the deal. At the end of the day, there are a ton of successful people here. There's people in your life. Maybe some of you are successful. But goodness, at the end of the day, you'll never be fulfilled until you start grounding yourself in the Word of God, until you start putting your faith and trust in something that's higher than yourself. And when you do that, life will change. Maybe just a little bit at first, but wait until it compounds. Wait till it over amplifies itself continuously. Bill asked, there's so many versions of the Bible, which one would you recommend? Bill, the Bible doesn't discriminate. You know, as a matter of fact, most of the translations nowadays that are simplified are some of the not only easiest to read, but some of the most studied and well thought out translations from Aramaic times, from ancient times. So it doesn't matter. Just get started. If you were one of my coaching students, I would tell you just to jump. It doesn't matter what Bible you pick. Pick one. Just get started. Don't put off this relationship.
Justin says, thank you, brother. I just need the guidance and the push and the right book to go to. You speak such a strong word, and I am starting to see what you are doing. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
So something about Justin that you don't know. Justin and I have been elementary school friends, and he's seen me. He's seen me when I was gangbanging and selling dope and beating up people and stabbing and there's a whole bunch of my story that I'm not sharing with you right now. Justin's seen me on that. He's seen me strung out on cocaine. He's seen me be one of the biggest dealers in the country. Justin knows that this thing has changed me.
Systematized too?
Oh, it was.
I couldn't. I'm sorry.
I mean, I started out at 13. I mean, let's just say.
So,
Dylan, any advice on how to not get a sunburn?
no, that one he
Don't-
apparently needed some help
Actually,
with.
all of these ladies are like, y'all are pale, you and Cranston. You've been traveling too much and inside. You should put some sunscreen. I'm like, oh no, we're Italian. I'm going to burn today. I'll be fine tomorrow. So, man, listen to the lady in your life, Dylan, and she'll put you straight.
Gosh, oh my
If you guys
gosh.
aren't following Dylan Teddemer, he's one of my coaching students. He's an amazing human being, and his life has been transformed just by putting a little bit of faith in the man upstairs. He's an amazing person. So thank you, Dylan, for jumping on, brother.
So you're speaking on Thursday? Friday. So this is your first, oh my God, I'm so tongue-tied. This is your first Tab Mastermind, correct?
This is my first tab.
What did you think it was going to be, and how is that differed from what it is?
You know, that's a great question. I expected this to be the absolute best retreat. That's what I was told.
Yeah.
I also, in the back of my head, had a little bit of limiting belief saying, it's going to be about real estate. I've talked very little about real estate this week so far, and I've been able to make some connections. I've already made a couple $100,000 this week with just the connections that I've made.
Beautiful.
And at the end of the day, for me, it's not about the money. It's not about the real estate. It's not about the next transaction. It's about how I can add value. And so,
Which seems to be a recurring theme I'm hearing over and over again from the people here.
It's been
which
amazing.
I think is amazing.
it really has been amazing.
Yes.
I have literally had the opportunity to see lives transform. I've had some revelations. I mean, heck, the rainbow this morning blew my mind away, right? Like, I mean, God that I serve gave Noah the rainbow to show him that there was hope and peace and a promise of everlasting life. And in the moment, talking about relationships and how important it is to have a relationship with your Creator, a rainbow appears and says, I've got you, bro.
What amazes me about you and Marshall is that you both are so open about, and Dee was too. Everyone has been very open about their personal lives and their stories. And I'm just not there yet. I'm not there yet. And I think part of it for me is I understand that our past has kind of brought us to where we are now, obviously. And so for me, I think the thing is I don't want to be, I came from a dysfunctional background. I don't want to be pitied. I don't want people to say, I don't want to be looked upon as less than. And I think Marshall and I talked about that a little bit. I've tried very hard to get to where I'm at now and what people see now. And so the thought of,
let me ask
but it
you
feels
something.
like a mask.
Let me ask you
Listening to
something.
you guys talk, it feels a little bit like a mask. But then the other thing for me is,
It's not a mask.
but oh my God, once it's out there forever. It's the internet.
Can I coach you for a second?
Oh God, okay.
Here's the deal. I don't need you to go vulnerable with everybody live, but I'm going to tell you right now. The first step is vulnerability, right? But it's not vulnerability putting yourself out there. It's vulnerability with yourself to hold yourself integral. Mm-hmm. Do you remember Andy Griffith, the old Andy Griffith show?
Yes.
Right? You remember that? I want you to picture
You're
something.
dating us.
Hey, it's all right. I don't care because this is a beautiful illustration.
Okay.
So here's what happens. So we go through life and we're just like the kids in the theme song, right?
Okay.
And what happens? They go to the little lagoon and they jump off the dock and they jump in.
Just jump.
But Shannon left her backpack on with all the school books or the bricks or the stories that you've been telling yourself. You can't fully float when you hold on to it. So you've got to open up. You've got to have a method, right? So here's my commitment to you.
Oh,
when
boy.
we get off of this live,
Oh, boy.
we're going to do an exercise. And I promise you, by the end of this week, I promise you, your life will change forever. Fair enough?
Game.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Hey, guys, I love you guys. I know Shannon does because obviously she wouldn't be bringing you such great content. I don't know about you. Any last words?
No, I'm done.
Done.
I don't even know where to go from here.
Hashtag
No.
trophy effect. Chris, you know what I'm talking about.
This is
Mind blown.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. I have to I feel like I just need some quiet and I just need to process, honestly.
You will.
So,
Let's wrap it
yeah.
up.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. And
Love you guys.
if you're watching on replay, make sure you comment hashtag replay. And if you have any questions for Bryce, go ahead and put them down below. If you think of something later, if you, like me, need a little time to process and you have some questions for him down the road, please feel free to put them in the comments and we'll both check in. And of course, I'll be here with you the rest of this week. And yeah.
Will you help me field those if you get them on here?
Of course.
Because my phone keeps dying.
Of course I will. So, all right, guys.
God bless you, Bill. God bless you guys. Love you guys. Stay sharp, and I'll see you all at the top.
Bye.